So we are back at our original design, and this is the window that we prepared for ourselves. You can see that we have a ground floor tab here. There is a 3D tab prepared in here, and this is the overview of all of what we have in our so far untitled design, BIM design. I can collapse some of these, so it's, yeah, I can see better the organization structure. So our goal of this part of this tutorial, or of the first block, was to arrive to create an easy model of neighborhood of our building site. For that, we have already created a Schwarzplan of our Münster plot, and now what we need to do is that we need to do the next step. That means we need to somehow import this file inside our Archicad model to work with this plan later. As I told you, difference between CAD and BIM software is quite huge, and in BIM we have one project that everything is connected. But for these occasions, for the occasions that we need to import some kind of DWG or PDF, basically any kind of trace reference, we have here something in the organization instruction on the right that is called Worksheets. So if I click in here by a left click, I can create new independent worksheets. What it actually means is that we are creating this kind of paper that stands besides our project. It's not anywhere connected to the project directly. It's inside the project, but it's not connected to the model. So we can call this worksheet map and click on create. Now, as you see, we have a new collapse button in here and the worksheets, and we have this new W01 map worksheet that already opens. For the next step, we need to import our PDF file as a trace reference, and we do that by clicking on the file at the top menu, where you can see loads of stuff going on, and we will search for external content, place external drawing. This allows us to pick from various types of formats, but if we just leave the selection to all available types, it's gonna be just good. And as you already see, under my downloads is my map ready, so I click on open. Right now, as you can see, my cursor changed, and it's followed by this square with arrows. That is this symbol for our drawing, and we are gonna place it on this crosshair by left click. What I didn't previously explain is that crosshair is actually a 0, 0, 0 point of our drawing. That means that this point is the same in all of the ground floors. Also in 3D, this is this X point. If I open the 3D, yeah, you see also this is our X. But if this is our X, why our map is not visible in the 3D? And our map is not visible in the 3D because, as you can see by left clicking on drawing. It actually says when you hover on drawing. What does it mean? That means that we have this drawing inside Archicad, inside our worksheet, but as you can see, it still does not react to our vectors. So we need to make it react to the vectors, and we're gonna do this by right-click in here and explode into current view. It opens up this kind of window. In this window we have an option to keep original element after exploding, but I don't need the drawing anymore, I just need the vectors of the buildings. So I click OK, I unclick the check mark and click OK. Right now what happens is that you see that highlight of our drawing disappeared, and we have this mark, these edges, they're not here anymore. But when I hover on any type of building, as you see, my cursor already changes the appearance. So that means that we already load up this geometry inside Archicad. How to edit it or how to work with this? If I click on any type of this building, you see that it says in here, if you select anything, right now I have a selection tool, you see that I have a selection tool selected. If I select something, it changes, this huge bar changes, and it changes according to this element. So these are main element settings, and this small sign, this shows up that these all are fills. And as you can see, I can select only all of them, but I don't want to select all of them. I want to work with each one separately. Maybe I want to clean these two small ones. So how can I ungroup? Because this is a group. It's the same way as when we imported inside Illustrator. We ungroup by going under Edit, Grouping, and Ungroup. And now, as you see, each element reacts on its own. One more thing that I prefer to set up is under Edit and Grouping, turn off this auto group. This auto group basically does what it says, that it creates groups automatically, but most of the times in Archicad it's not something that you want, because you want to work with the elements separately, and if you can select only the group, then you cannot, you have a different options how to edit. Okay, so right now we have our drawing inside, we have it break down at the elements. Next step in our design process requires us to put these elements into their real dimensions, to use the real measurements. And for that we need to know how to use a measure tool in Archicad. Measure tool in Archicad is something that you can find up in here and on the taskbar, but you can also, and that is one of the most common used keyboard shortcuts, use a keyboard shortcut M that turns on this measure tool. If you want to go back to selection tool, just click back again to M and it will change back to your previous tool. So turn on and turn off this tool just by clicking M. Okay, what I want to do is that I want to measure one dimension. I will measure this dimension of this building, and I see that it says that the dimension is 6159. 6159 of what? you may ask? And I'm gonna answer this at this moment. When you go for options, project preferences, sorry, there is option to open working units. Working units is basically units that you are using inside Archicad. As you see, there are lots of options to set up the units, lots of different units. But what we want to check right now is our length unit. So our length unit 6159 was millimeter unit, and it says that our millimeters will have 0 decimals. Some of you use another type of measurements and another type of units, and as you can see, by left click you open this box, and there are lots of options to change the dimensions of your working units. I prefer to work in millimeters, while in my country we work in millimeters, so I will stay with millimeters, but you can change to any type of unit. You just need to follow in millimeters and then recalculate in your head. So I click OK, nothing changes, and I measured in Google Maps actually, and I know that this dimension is 30 meters in real life. And as I said, it measures for 6159. How will I change this and all of these elements according to this scale? I need to select all, and that I will do by clicking and selecting all, or by Ctrl A and select that will select all of our elements, and go under edit. Under edit is reshape and resize. Archicad is a very useful and powerful tool, and as we will proceed with our fight to learn BIM, we will use more and more of these keyboard shortcuts. And as you can see, resize has also a keyboard shortcut. If you don't know a keyboard shortcut, you should know where to find the command on the top. But so far we will just follow with the commands like it is, and next turn we will use also the keyboard shortcuts. So Ctrl K, and it opens up a window, and it asks us if we want to define graphically. We want to define graphically, and if all of the elements should be affected by our resizing, and that is true, all of the elements. So I click on OK, and then click on the first point, click on the second point, and now just when I try to move along, you see that it follows the line that I set up, and it follows the line and changes the square outline. How will I change this dimension to exactly 30,000 millimeters or 30 meters? Just by typing 30,000, click enter, and now everything is up to scale. We can check if I'm right by measuring again with a measure tool, and I will measure it's 30 meters. Okay, so what actually happened is that we used this resize tool on our element, and it resized all the elements. But we use this tool from point to point, and that is something that I want to explain next. So why does it react to our point? In Archicad, when you try to design an element, it always has something that you can say as a reference point, reference line, or reference outline. These are the points, edges, or something that you can work with and you can edit. And right now I will show you how to edit this this fill of a building. If I click on my building, it says, as I told you, that this is gonna be fill. I will explain also later in more depth. This is just for now. But as you can see, these corners are highlighted with these points that are actually always the same. If you zoom out or zoom in, they have the same dimension, and that the same applies also to the crosshair. And these points are the action points. So if I hover on, you see that my cursor changes. If I hover on the edge, my cursor changes in a different way, and it offers me this kind of a middle point. So we are gonna go through these right now. If I click on the edge, on the corner of this building, you see that we have a new window open that is in here, but I will just bring it closer, and now I will show you what we have in here. We have in here the first and already selected tool is Movenote, and from the visuals you can already see that I'm actually moving this corner point, and if I click left again, it's done. The change is permanent, or permanent so far. I can undo by clicking in here, or by Ctrl Z, as in any kind of Microsoft related application. So there are also different kinds of tools in here, and we will go through all of them. Second one, fillet or chamfer, allows you to change this corner. Fillet means to change the corner in a way that it's rounded. Chamfer means that you're gonna cut out this corner and you need to set up the radius for this. So if I set up radius of 5 meters or 5,000 millimeters and click OK, you see that it rounded my corner and created actually two new points that are on the edge. But I will undo this change. Then you have an option to offset all edges, and with the offsetting all edges I will also explain one more trick that is very useful with Archicad, and you will use it a lot of time. When you clicked on the offset of the edges and you hover, you see that we have this possibility to make it bigger, we have a possibility to make it smaller. But what if I want to make a copy of this that is bigger? That is easily done in Archicad just by click on the Control button, and now as you see next to my pencil there's this plus sign that actually tells me that I have this option to add a new one, a new rectangle. So if I click now, you see I have the old element highlighted inside and the new element is outside. If I decide that I don't want this copy anymore, just by clicking Ctrl you can turn it off again. It's similar as with the measure tool. You can turn on and turn off by clicking the same button. Okay, next one is add a polygon, and I will just show quite briefly. As you see, I added a polygon inside this building. I will show you how to create a different type of polygon in the next part with explaining a slab. I will go back. There is one more thing on the top part, and that is subtract, and yeah, that's what it says, so no big deal. Then we have something that you will use a lot of times. That is one of the commands that you need to learn by heart, keyboard shortcuts, because you're gonna use it 1,000 times during a project, and that is a drag option. Yeah, you can say move or drag, but in Archicad is drag, and also our keyboard shortcut is according to this. You will see Ctrl D. If I click Ctrl D, it looks like nothing happens, but when I click on the edge of our rectangle, you see that I have this rectangle, and I move this rectangle. I go one step back, so I click Ctrl D and click again on this point. What if I want to have a copy? Just by clicking on Ctrl and placing it somewhere over here, I have a copy of this one. That is easy. Okay, next one is rotate, and rotate is also something that you should learn by heart, and for that I need to check a paper, and it's Ctrl E. As I told you at the class, I set up different keyboard shortcuts for Archicad, so for the sake of this tutorial I try to work with the ones that are preset, but if you're gonna work with the program for a long time, and if you're gonna work also with different types of programs, you will maybe change this. So I click on the first point, then as you see I need to select another point, that is this one, and now I can rotate. One more thing that is very, very interesting for you as a newcomer to Archicad is that anything you do, it shows you what you need to do, or what is the next step on this command point, or I don't know, leader, or how would I call this. So that means if I have this rotate tool selected, it says enter rotation center point. This is my center point of rotation. Enter rotation arc start point. So if I click on this point, it rotates along the center with this point. Okay, and we have also a mirror tool here. Mirror tool is similar in a way to rotate. You need to select the first point, but then you need to select also the second point of the mirror, and you're gonna mirror. It works also with the control button, so that means if I click right now on the control button, it offers me to create a copy that is mirrored. So I will delete this, and there is a multiply option that I will explain later, because it is more complex and you don't need it at this moment. What you need to know is that these are options that I have for fill if I click on the corner point. If I click in here on the edge, if I click in here on the edge, you see that these options changed, and that is because with the corner you have a different option to edit than with the edge. As easy as that. So I can insert a new node or new point, and that is just by left click. I can create an arch or arc at the edge. I can create arc by a tangent. I can also offset one edge, offset all of the edges you already seen, add and subtract polygon, and all the other options are here also. So if you want to edit this one, as you see, you have a lot of options, and you can achieve any type of geometry that you would like to see and you would like to design. And now we're gonna forward to actually creating this geometry by slab tool, and I'm gonna explain the slab tool for the next episode.